This is big. Writer proposes wild Bills trade that can add depth to their backfield and bring them to that Super Bowl caliber that the defense needs to get to this coming season. My name's Dan. This is Bills Digest. Make sure you subscribe down below so you don't miss any updates on the Bills, especially as we get into preseason and we really get to see what this new team has to bring. So, writers proposed that Tyrann Mathieu should get traded to the Bills. That name probably sounds familiar to a lot of you Bills fans out there, as he played for the Chiefs just a couple years ago in those heartbreaking games. He was part of the issues that were plaguing the Bills pretty consistently. He was solid and still is a pretty solid player. So, could he add depth to the Bills? Yes, but we need to look at a couple factors. So, looking at what he was able to actually contribute to the Saints last year, it's pretty impressive. He played all 17 games. He got 3 interceptions, forced a fumble, and recovered another, with a tackle for loss on top of it. That's pretty solid for a safety. And that doesn't take away from his previous career. He has shown that he's able to do things like this and things more impressive than this. He was going after Josh Allen. He was sacking Josh Allen. There's one of the pictures in the video intro that you saw. He's literally going after Josh Allen and almost gets to him. He is consistent and he's fast. That's one of his biggest strengths, is his speed. When he ran his combine, he was running a 4.5. That's solid. So let's look at his possible soon-to-be counterpart, Damar Hamlin. Played 14 games last year, 2 interceptions, covered a fumble. Pretty okay. That's pretty okay. Obviously, Mathieu's stats look a lot better, but Hamlin played a pretty good season. Now, for the fan favorite, Taylor Rapp. Taylor Rapp played 14 games, had 2 interceptions, that looks familiar, and forced a fumble. Pretty good. That's pretty good. However, the Bills need more depth than what they have now. One of the biggest issues that they sought to address in the offseason was the cornerback situation. Now, they did. They brought in a bunch of different potential starting cornerbacks, and we're going to see who ends up playing. Obviously, the Bills like to swap out and do a bunch of different changes whenever they get the chance on defense, just to keep the players fresh and keep everyone ready to go. But if we look at the safety position, there's not a ton of choice when it comes to who to swap between. Obviously, there are others on the roster. These are just the 2 big names that we hear about and who would probably be playing opposite of Mathieu if he would come to the Bills. So, what would he bring in total? He's bringing veteran status. He's coming into his 13th season in the NFL. That's pretty solid. He's bringing knowledge about Chiefs. Now, obviously, their scheme has changed up and has been made different, but still could be useful because he did play in practice on the opposite side of Patrick Mahomes. So that could play a role in how he's able to read how Mahomes is looking downfield, read how he's looking to make different plays. Obviously, Mahomes is a good player, but every quarterback has their tell. Every quarterback has specific things that when you practice with them and practice opposite them, you're going to see that pretty consistently and get to know it. So that could bring another layer to this potential, hopefully, Super Bowl defense. Now, one thing that we do need to look at, and it's not that big a deal because of what he's able to accomplish and what he has accomplished in his career. He's 5'9". He'd be playing opposite a player who is 6 foot. Both Taylor Rapp and Damar Hamlin are both 6 foot. Like I said, he does have that veteran status, but with that comes age. He's 33, which isn't, that old. But in football, that is kind of old, especially for a safety position. Obviously, there are safeties out there who have played longer, but it could be a factor, especially when we look at who he'd be playing opposite, which would be Damar Hamlin or Taylor Rapp, who are both the same age at 27. So it's a factor to consider, but it's not the end all. So as we look at what he could bring The biggest thing is depth. Again, the Bills did what they could to pick up cornerbacks, pick up individuals who are going to be able to stop those large plays from happening. We look at the Lions game, though. The Bills put up a bunch of points. Their offense is pretty solid. But the Lions put up almost as many points. And if it wasn't for that strange onside kick, that game may have gone completely differently. So the defense needs work, and it has needed work. And the Bills have attempted to address it, but not at safety. One of the places that they have really struggled to actually make up that difference, and it shows. Damar Hamlin had an okay season. Taylor Rapp had an okay season, but they weren't breakouts. They were part of bigger plays, but they didn't cause the big play. And sometimes you don't need a safety to do that, but with how the Bills play their safeties, kind of need them to do that. And we're coming off of the Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer duo that was phenomenal. Across the league, they were some of the best. Now we don't have that. It's not the end of the world, but they need to adjust. They had two very talented players. Very talented players. So, they've got to start moving in that direction and shifting gears a little bit. And it seems that it took them a season to get there. Hopefully, we'll see some actual production from our safeties like we used to in this next season. So, when we look at the Bills' defense right now, it's kind of up in the air. There's a lot of different players that are moving into different spots, that are occupying different spaces, and we're seeing a change in this team. And that's not a bad thing. This team is going to be still extremely fun to watch. We might all be biting our nails when the defense hits the field for the first couple games, but once they fall into that rhythm, and once we as fans get to really see what they're bringing to the table, there's a good chance that this defense could bring them all the way to the Super Bowl. There's talent. There's definitely talent. There's drive. And there's want. You can see that from how the players talk about this team just in general, on the offense and the defense. All of these players love this team. They want to come back and play. Look at what Tre'Davious White kept saying about Buffalo. Didn't get Buffalo, he was going to retire. He said Buffalo or bust. Here he is, back. And he has that veteran status as well to help the younger cornerbacks fall into that new role, or, pick up what they started last year. So safety remains an issue, obviously. We're going to have to see what happens. This would be a great trade. It would. Matthew would bring a lot of depth to this defense. But that's just what I think. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Do you think he's going to make a massive impact? Little one? Still upset about those Chiefs games that he played in? Because I know I kind of am. But if he can do that here, then I'll take it. It's fine. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like the video. Keep up with Bills Digest as we jump into this preseason coming up. Very exciting. Until I see you next, hope you all stay happy, healthy, and safe. I've been Dan, and this is Bills Digest.